Glasgow produced a clinical second half to book their place in the final of the European Challenge Cup. My name is Mark, let's talk rugby. Okay, so before we get into the game, I'll just say that if you hear any weird noises in the background, we are in the middle of a storm here. Not sure whether it'll be picked up on my microphone or not, but yeah, if you hear anything, that's what it is. So, Glasgow actually started some pretty well. They dominate the ball for the first 10 minutes. They then get over for an early try during that period as well. They have numbers out wide. They manage to move it out there. And then McDowell dances through a couple of tackles to get over to score. Is converted by Horn, and Glasgow's 7-0 up after a couple of minutes. Glasgow then, they're coming looking for a second, but Scarlets do well to keep them out. Some good speed and defence, competing well at the rucks and making a mess of lineouts as well. Scarlets then begin to hold on to the ball a bit more, working their way back into the game. Pressure tells then Glasgow get pinged at the breakdown, and Costello obliges from the tee. It's 7-3. Scarlets come again. Glasgow concede another kickable penalty. Again, Costello puts it over, 7-6. Scarlets then make a break through Steph Evans. There's a poor kick, but Glasgow get to the ball first. They then take it over their own line. It's scrum 5 to Scarlets, but then just before they put in, the TMO advises the ref that there's actually a foot in touch before that happened. So now it's a line out to Glasgow, but Glasgow then mess up the line out and overthrow it. Scarlets gather the ball, go through the phases. Lovely bit of play by Lousy, and Evans goes over in the corner to score. Costello drags the conversion attempt across the post, and we're at 11-7 to Scarlets. They've hit the front. Momentum then from, at this point is clearly with Scarlets. They win another penalty at the breakdown and kick it up the line, but this time it's Scarlets' turn to overthrow. We then have a stoppage for treatment to Morgan Jones. He basically copped an elbow. He got his head on the wrong side when he was trying to tackle Xander Fagerson. So, just poor tackle technique really from him. Fagerson was carrying with the his arm close to his chest, so no suggestion of any kind of foul play from him. We then have two Pilatus on the field as Sione's cousin Serwin comes on for Scarlet. So cousins on opposite sides of the game. Scarlets then come forward again. Glasgow aggressive in defence, but Batty gets pinged for hands on the ground, and this one is right in front. So Costello waits for the clock to tick over to 40, and then he puts it over. 14-7 is our halftime score. Glasgow then start the second half by getting over for a try. Dupree's makes a break, and then Horn goes over to score on the back of that. We have a TMO check for a high hit from Wainwright that happened way earlier in the move. And, they were talking about that the Reynal, the referee, didn't actually hear the call for the check. So they come back to check that. So try is scored, but hasn't been converted yet. When we look at the tackle then, it seems pretty upright, but Reynal says that there was a step before the contact and there was mitigation. The commentary team, who are seem to be partial to Scarlets, though even they say that it should have been probably a red because they didn't see any real mitigation in it. But I also mentioned that Reynal, when he was looking at the big screen, there was, at that time the sun was shining and it was actually difficult for him to see the screen properly. So maybe Scarlets got away with one there. After all this is done then, so Wainwright gets his yellow, Horn does convert his own try, and we're all tied up at 14-all. Scarlets then get another kickable penalty for a high hit. Costello puts them back in front, 17-14. At that stage, typical, the crowd are looking for a yellow card to kind of even things up, but it wasn't. Don't think there was any kind of chance really that was going to be a yellow. It was definitely just penalty only there, and you can kind of understand with the Scarlets fans because they don't get into that many European semi-finals, and two teams trying to get to their first final as well. It really was a really good atmosphere in the ground actually, but yeah, obviously crowd really getting into the game there. Glasgow though, they then come forward. Matthews makes a great break from a line out. MacLeod gets over the ball to win a penalty and then allows them to kick clear. Glasgow then win a penalty themselves and they go to the corner. They claim the line out. Scarlets went up to compete but weren't able to disrupt. Glasgow set up the maul. They drive. Then Matthews peels off and goes over to score. Horn converts this one, 21-17 to Glasgow. They hit the front again. Glasgow then, they're starting to take control of the game. They're winning penalties. They're moving forward. They work it into the 22. We have big carries, and then Darge manages to get over to score next to the post. It's converted for 28-17, looking a bit ominous for Scarlets at this stage. Mark Ferguson then is off beat, and Scarlets kick the ball up the line from the penalty. They go to the maul, but Glasgow do really well to make it unplayable. Great work from Dupreez. Glasgow then win the scrum penalty, and it feels like everything is starting to go their way then. Scarlets, though, they get another chance to get a penalty, kick it to the corner, shift the ball from the line out. Ken Owens comes up the blind side, obviously a set move, getting him into space, but then Horn and Canzonieri combine and get him into touch. Glasgow then decide to go for a three-man line out. They get it to Horn, but he knocks on about 5 meters out from the line. He's claiming that it's slapped down, but Reynal is having none of it, and I don't think it was slapped down either. I think he was just took too long. It took too long to get the ball to him, and then when he got it, he was too long actually deciding what he was going to do with the ball. It's a 5 meter scrum to the Scarlets. Feels like a really big moment in the game. Scarlets need to get something here to keep their hopes of making that final alive. From the scrum then, Scarlets spread it. Smith goes for the intercept, but he knocks on. Reynal reviews it on the big screen again. He thinks it's a genuine attempt to get the ball, but honestly, I've seen yellows given for this before, and I wouldn't have complained if he given a yellow for that. But Reynal was saying that was a genuine attempt to get the ball. I think he kind of knocked the ball up first, and then he dives to try and get it, but he still didn't come really anywhere near to regathering. But it was enough for Reynal to say it was a genuine attempt. Scarlets then run it from the scrum. They get a penalty for a tackle off the ball. They decide to go for the scrum under the post. Hardy snipes from the back of the scrum, and he goes really close to the line. They then recycle it. Forwards have a go. Then they're not getting over, so they go wide, but Combeer is driven into touch. Glasgow with some really good defence there. Glasgow then kick clear, but it's like an up and under rather than out to touch. Canzonieri claims it. Scarlets, you feel now they're running out of time. That really was a massive chance for them. But then they do get a penalty for offside. They kick that to the corner, but line-out malfunctions. And Lewis Bean, he managed to claim the loose ball for Glasgow. Scarlets then mess up another line-out, and it feels like chance for them is ebbing away. Glasgow then get a try at the death, put a bit of icing on the cake and a bit of gloss on the score. They have a 5 meter line out, shift it quickly. McDowell comes on a great line just behind the tail gunner. Just that gap between the end of the end the line out and the beginning of the defensive line. He comes on a lovely angle into that space and goes over to score. It's converted. We're right into death, and it's 35-17 full time. Let's have a quick look at some of the stats from the game. So possession, 39% for Scarlets, 61% for Glasgow. Territory, a little bit more even. Scarlets edging at 53-47, but it really was that second half, the kind of actually the third quarter really, where Glasgow got on top in terms of possession and territory in that section, and that's where it won it for them. Scarlets, when they came back on top, they just could not get that score that would, kickstart a comeback for them. Next then, we have missed tackles, 25 for Scarlets, just 4 for Glasgow. Shows what a defensive effort they put in. Really big shift from them. And also on attack then, causing Scarlets to miss so many tackles as well. In terms of turnovers, 1 then 13 each. Some really crucial turnovers, in the game from both teams. But in the end, I think Glasgow, again, they're ones during that period where it looked like Scarlets have to score and they didn't. That really was the kind of, big contribution to the winning of the game for them. Next then we have line-out. So Scarlets 63% of the line-out, Glasgow 72%. You can see that for both teams, malfunctions at time and kind of cost them at crucial times in the game as well. Like Scarlet's not going to be happy with their line-out performance at all. Like 63 is pretty low for them. And again, kind of just stripped them of chances at crucial times. Scrums for both teams went at 100%, so fairly good there. Penalties conceded then, 11 for Scarlets, 12 for Glasgow. And Glasgow did very well to not concede too many penalties in a row. So there was, even when Scarlets were on top, there was no real talk of a yellow card for possible, too many penalties in the wrong area, etc. And then the last stat that we're going to look at is offloads. So 7 for Scarlets, 11 for Glasgow. Both teams looking to keep the ball alive, but I think Glasgow a little bit better in that regard in terms of, when they offloaded, it was, often to try and put someone through a gap. Scarlets sometimes, we've seen them almost panicky offloads that we talked about before from them and from others as well. But in terms of both teams then, Scarlets, I think they did really well to make it to a European final. And, they had that lead at half time. They couldn't build on it in the second half. They really needed to, be just keeping that scoreboard ticking over the way they did in the first half, getting their penalties, popping them over. But they got into this thing where they were trying to get score tries and just weren't moving the scoreboard at all in their favor. They made some chances, but really couldn't take them. I talked about them before in a Twitter thread during the week as well, comparing them to Connacht and the way that Scarlets seem to be very wasteful. They've made tons of breaks all through the season and have been so poor at converting them. We've seen the same thing today as well. But well done to them for getting this far. Glasgow, they really won the game in that second half by getting the tries, getting themselves ahead, and then after that, then their defence really did make sure that Scarlets were not going to come back at them. And congrats to Glasgow on the first European final.